So I've just had the rattle gun on this joist, on that nut there. This is all what they call the compensator. So that obviously just slides in there, like so. And now that's all ready just to slide off. I've got to get that nut off, undo the main pinion shaft of the starter motor here and take this gear off, and then once that nut's off and the chain adjustment's been undone, the whole lot slides off together, and then I can start taking all the bolts off for the main inner primary, which I've got a brand new one there ready to go on. So I'm just tinkering in the shed now, mucking around with this old girl. There we go, Jace. Clutch. The adjuster can stay on the chain, just there. That adjuster can stay there. That's the other half to the compensator slip ring, how it works. So it's all off there. So now it's just a matter of, you know, undoing all the bolts that are in there. There's a couple, there's one underneath there, there's one in there. I might have to move this, I'm not sure yet. There's a linkage issue I've got to fix behind that primary, the inner primary. And once those bolts are out, mate, it should almost, I've still got the gear here, the pinion gear off the starter motor to get off. It's a little 8mm, it's a long one, goes right in, and then job's done. It should come off. And because it's designed that way, the way it is with the front bits that come out, you don't have to undo the starter motor. It's on another framework. So yeah, how good's that? It's all unbolted, it's ready to come off. One inner primary cover. That's what it looks like behind there. There she is. That's me newie, brand newie, thanks to Gunner. Heart of gold, that man, down at Geelong Harley Davidson. There's the crack, you can see the crack through there. And because of the direction of rotation here with the chain, it sort of flicks it into that inner crack that hard that it just powers out the other side, and it ends up all down the side of me bike. So time for a newie. But if ever you break a belt, this is the job that you got ahead of you, unless you get the Harley guys to do it, because it's the only way to get your belt out. And some models you have to take the swing arm off, but yeah, there it is, guys. If you're interested in having a look, I'm just doing this sheerly because of the inner primary cover crack. But there's the compensator, the chain, the adjuster. It's basically what it looks like in here. And I've got a very loose, where is it? Where's that light? I've got a very loose gear shifter in here. You can see the inner shaft and the outer moving by itself. It's very loose in here. That wants to slide on and off. Oh, the only thing that was holding that on there was that inner was the inner primary. Would have been touching on the back there somewhere. Yeah, so that exactly it would have been hitting, where are those bolt holes? Just above that. So, oh, you can see the rub marks there where it's been hitting. Right there, I can see it. So, anyway, there's only the one O-ring that goes around there, which is that one that fell off. One O-ring. Other than that, there's no other gaskets. But you do need to seal the bolt holes, because if you don't seal the bolt holes when you put the bolts back in, oil can go down the shaft of the bolt, and can leak out of the inner holes here and down the front. And there's two there as well. So very important that you seal it up as best you can, if ever you get around to doing this sort of stuff. I don't really wish it upon anybody, because it can be easy to make mistakes. But I did end up having to undo the starter motor bolts, but did not have to remove the starter motor or the wiring. I did disconnect the battery. And, you know, now tomorrow I'll go down to Harley and get that seal, the seal there. And I've got a slight modification to do here. This inner primary is off an 80 cuber, but off a dyno. So the dyno gear stick comes through here. So I'm just going to make a plate that goes over that, seal it up, put a bolt through it, and that's sealed. So that's the only difference. It's come with new seals, brand new bearings. It's a brand new inner primary that our good mate Gunner happened to score one day. And unlike other people that get stuff for free and like to make money out of it, yeah, Gunner does not operate like that. He's a gentleman. So anyway, that's her. This is where the project's at the moment. She will be race ready for Saturday. Don't worry about that. So you can see I've actually just tightened this one up. So it's taken like far out, probably 2 centimetres out of that, which is awesome. It's nice and tight now. But I don't know if the camera will pick this up, but that little knuckle in there is also quite loose. I'm not sure if it'll pick it up, it might, but you know. There's it's loose as I can undo it with my fingers. So 1 millimetre there and 3 millimetres there would be over 2 centimetres, maybe 2.5 centimetres, you know, an inch, whatever, up this end. So, you know, it is what it is. We'll fix it up. But another thing I found, you can see the way the frame works there, the frame, and there's a welded solid piece of other frame there that goes from front to back. So you've got the engine on this side. It's mounted solid at the front, and it's mounted solid just here. You can see the bolts there and on the other side, and over there and there for the gearbox. And there's more at the back, and I've just noticed that you can see that hole in there. You can see that hole at the back there, just above the lower bit of the belt. There's a bolt completely missing there. So if you can imagine these two bolts, motor and gearbox, what happens is when you know, be really unkind to the clutch like some of us do and abuse it, it is what it is. You can't have fun without it, or lots of fun. But at the moment, the gearbox can do these ones when you're smashing through the gears. And because it can move, this one here is loose and one missing out of the back. So I'm pretty sure, other than a weak spot in the inner primary, fair bit extra horsepower from standard, all that sort of stuff when it was built. So the inner primary has taken the brunt of that and cracked right through it, like I just showed you a minute ago, and oil's pouring out of it. So now that when I get the bolts back in there and make sure that side of it's all tight and as it should be in parallel with one another, when I'm smashing through the gears, this shouldn't happen again with the new primary on it. So the main job of your inner primary is to hold your outer primary on and support the chain tensioner. Other than that, locking the starter motor onto the back of it, those two bolts. It's the inner and outer primary's main primary job is just to hold about 600 or 700 mils of oil in the bottom to hit this gear here to lubricate the chain. That's the only job it's got. So relying on that to keep the gearbox and the engine straight is not enough. They're not strong enough. It's got to be fully rigid to the frame. And happy days. But yeah, shit happens. We live and learn. This hopefully this won't happen again, and we'll be ready for summer. So I've just found this one with my fingers. It's that loose. This one's loose with a spanner on it, but I can't move my fingers. I found another one at the back on the back left-hand side of the engine that's loose. So this is what has broken my inner primary. Now I've found that one. I'm 100% confident that's what's happened. The motor and the gearbox. Yeah, so like I said, the motor and the gearbox are supposed to be locked solid in parallel like that while it's locked onto the frame. But obviously if one of them's loose and one of them can do these ones, whether it's the motor or the gearbox, and when you've got the inner primary on this side, if they're wobbling sideways, there's something's got to give. It's the this time it was the inner primary. So basically, if you're not breaking something on your bike, you're not having a go.